Welcome, Phil.
Nicholas, how are you? What's your middle name? Nicholas?
What do you think it is?
Nicholas, let's see. Chamberlain.
That's so
Nicholas
close.
Chamberlain Smith.
Phil, I don't know what your middle name is. It's probably something.
It's Joseph.
Oh, Philip Joseph?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And what about Nicholas? Nicholas Chamberlain Holla. Nicholas Chamberlain Holla.
Nope.
No. Nicholas Allen?
Yep. That's it.
So down in Texas, they use the middle name as their first name a lot.
As the name they go by?
Yeah. So like my buddy on my Thursday Night League, Brent, his middle name is Charles.
Mm-hmm.
No, his first name is Charles. Middle name is Brent.
Yeah.
So the other day we put the team together for the golf outing, and they asked me who I was playing with, and they had to have averages for the league, the bowling part of it. And I said Brent Massey, and he says there's no such thing. What's his real name? And I'm like, I don't know his real name. And his name is Charles, and they had.
He goes by Charles.
Yeah, no, he goes by Brent. He goes by Brent. His first name is Charles. So we're gonna call you Alan from now on.
Greg
Alan.
says not just Texas, most of the South.
Is it most of the South? Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not from the South. I'm from Southern California, which doesn't count. But
that's South.
Not the South. Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on?
Gary just chimed in. Our episode 10 on our new day on Wednesdays, Hump Day.
I forgot what day it was on this week. You keep moving.
Happy Hump Day, everyone.
Happy Hump Day.
To all those who love tuning in, and to all those who can't help but tune in, welcome to the show.
Oh man.
How does that taste? What do you got there? Water?
I got water. It's just water. Water today. Water. So we had a lot going on this week. We had the Super Slam. Then we had the Queens.
Sponsored by WWE Wrestling.
No, that was the Super Slam was obviously, because I say that all the time. And then who throws out the first ball? A wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was right. Right.
Did you also notice that, I don't know if we actually coined the nickname for McCune, but PBA started calling him Nuke.
Didn't. No, I heard somebody call him that. We didn't.
You did? Okay.
I stole it from them.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It wasn't, they didn't steal our nickname.
All right.
Nuke LaRouche.
Bull Durham. We gave him the Bull Durham reference at least.
At least we did. So Belmore won, very high scoring event. It was interesting. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a fan of things like that made for TV.
Did anybody in the chat actually watch the Super Slam this past weekend? You did?
I did.
You had nothing better to do?
Well, I taped. I recorded it, DVR'd it.
Oh, okay. I had golf, so I had.
So did I on Sunday. I played. I bowled Sunday. I golfed on Saturday in the tournament. And then when I came home, I watched bowling both days, so it was pretty good.
Yeah, nice little weekend then.
Yeah. The weather was terrible on Friday. It rained like crazy, so the golf course was soaked on Saturday.
Oh no.
Yeah. So my 340 drives are only going 200.
Hold on. I gotta break it out. Talk about the conditions of the course.
Why? Oh.
It's open. The case is open to the violin.
No, don't stop me. That's it.
Okay, we'll put it away for now. Okay.
False alarm. And then the first major for the women was last night was the end of the Queens, and that looked like a pretty good show. It looked like it was an interesting show.
Yeah, and
a lot of drama.
Was there a lot of drama?
Looked like it. Okay. I mean, drama. Key shot here, key shot there.
Sure.
So
yeah, first major of the year, first televised event for the ladies.
And there was no advertising.
I had no idea. If you were only on social media,
Yeah.
You never know anything was happening. They posted about the Pan Am all day, but zero about the Queens until about 1 a.m. to post a winner. By the way, it was Lindsay Boomershine's first PBA USBC title major.
It was right.
And yeah, it got posted 4 hours after the fact.
Right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we have some new balls to talk about today, and then we'll open it up with some questions, maybe a lot of questions today. We'll spend most of the show trying to answer questions because we were a little remiss by not doing much of that last week because we did the why you suck at bowling tournament.
Which we actually clipped that off and posted it separately on our YouTube, Radicals YouTube channel, and people are watching that thing.
Yeah,
so,
and there's no special way to find that, is there? Like special directions?
You can just go on our YouTube on Radical Bowling, which is almost up to 20,000 subscribers, and just search, Radical Bowling or Why You Suck in Tournaments. It'll likely come up first or second there.
I'm going to go to YouTube and try to figure out why I suck in tournaments. Let me type that in. And guess what? There's a clip.
I think, you know what? This guy, Ted, here in the chat has a good question. I think we should start taking bets.
Okay, where's Ted?
What's higher, Phil's rev rate or his driver distance?
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Well,
I am definitely going to say your driver distance is.
Well, I got to go.
On a good day with wind will be more than your rev rate, but they're pretty close.
All right, we'll see. Let's see how it goes.
You know your specs when I have Throwbot going, right, for your character.
I do, and that just fictitious character.
Fictitious,
but he does strike a lot.
13.5, 175. Yeah. You don't think
that's
real world?
No, I think my rev rate's higher than that.
You do realize you're going to be here in about 10 days.
I'm not throwing balls when I'm there.
You're going to throw some balls. I need to get some video content of you throwing stuff with Specto on.
We'll have to see how I feel.
I think it'll be great for the channel.
Yeah, sure. For you to have fun with it. So
it's for the entertainment. I mean, if it's entertaining to me, it's gonna be entertaining to all. I mean,
all right. Well, we'll see. We'll figure that out when I get there.
All right.
Anyway,
people are requesting these videos. They want to see you bowl. I'm more interested in the science of the fact.
The science of bowling?
No, the science of whether my Throwbot specs are spot on for your own Specto specs.
All right. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll do it. I'll bring shoes.
Okay. I mean, you can always rent shoes. We are Brunswick. We got some shoes you can rent.
I'm at $5 for the shoes at the test center.
We got the spray and everything.
Spray stuff. That's good. Yeah. So anyhow, how many people we got on? We ready to talk about some bowling balls?
Yeah, we got 75 people on between the YouTube and Facebook, and I think we're actually getting more people on YouTube than we. So
you can go on YouTube and watch it live.
Oh yeah, we're live right now.
Wow. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. I'm going to go on there and see what the split is because once again, I'm all about. It's actually about 50-50. It's almost identically 50-50.
Wow.
But I think the people on YouTube are obviously more chatty in our chat than the people on Facebook. I think.
Oh, and do they all come up in the same spot, or
they all come? Yeah. They got different icons next to it. If they got a red icon, it's YouTube. If they got a blue one,
I see that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I don't know.
Every day, I learn something every day.
I mean, right now, the Facebook guys are trailing behind on your comments. Obviously, we're gonna have a lot of open Q&A later.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool. I can't wait for that. I'm excited about that more than anything else.
We haven't taken questions in a while because
I know it. Well, we had Johnny on, and then we did the why you suck at bowling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about these bowling balls. I know people are on here to talk. I always love the entry level, lower performance. Lower performance is a bad word. The easy use balls that have symmetrical with lower differentials. They have a great place in everybody's arsenal. And the one line that started out as sort of a ho-hum and then ended up taking off was the Rack Attack.
Yeah, it became an icon after we discontinued it.
After we discontinued, everybody wanted them. They're paying $250 for the ball on eBay. It was amazing.
For a ball they could have got for $100.
Exactly.
When it was out. Come on.
Correct. When it was brand new. But anyway, and then from that we went to the counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
And that line did very, very well. We had 2 versions of it, pro and solid. So then we went to we changed the core a little bit, gave it a little bit more performance, and fiddled around with cover stocks a little bit, made the sneak attack, and that ball sold great. It's still selling great.
You kind of slow rolled. Nice. You kind of slow rolled this release, Phil. Oh, you got to take that?
No, that's Ron Brad calling me.
Oh, you don't want to hang up? You don't.
No.
Yeah, Phil's notorious for calling me, and then if he gets another call, hold on, I got to take this. I'll call you back. It's like you called me.
Yeah. So what do you mean I slow rolled it? What do you mean by slow rolled it?
Well, here's my point. When you released Rack Attack, original Rack Attack, did they come out together or separate?
Original came out together.
Together, and then
the counterattack together.
And now,
oh, so I slow rolled, because you know why? I mean, there was a lot to it. We had we talk about iterations of cover stocks, working from where we were to HK22, and somewhere along the line we had the cover stock that I liked for the sneak attack, and it was a hybrid. So I know if I would have just came out with that and a solid, I really wouldn't have had any more technology at that point. Knowing what was coming, we were better off waiting for the solid version.
Is that right?
Which has microtech particles in it, that type of deal. Yeah,
I've thrown it,
and
you'll find out next week.
Okay, that's right. You did throw it. You have a video.
I do.
Okay, good. So we'll show it next week.
Great ball. It was actually
it hooked more than I thought it was going to hook.
I think it's a little bit gifted.
It is
as far as performance.
It is. I threw it last night in league.
Still better from the straighter angles and playing those kind of easier, straighter lines.
I think it's great on a house shot. It'll smooth out your wet dry a little bit.
Yeah, and for the guys that really rev it up, that are rev dominant.
Yeah, they're gonna like that a lot.
I mean, there's a reason why counterattack and rack attack solids were so insanely popular, because you can just rip on it and they don't flare a ton. So
right,
you can control it and watch that ball bend.
Yeah, I like this ball. I threw it last night. I didn't bowl well with it. I put it up and then bowled very well with the Rattlers last night. But it was hooked. It hooked more than I thought it was gonna hook.
Yeah,
so I might put it with the surface. Not.
So between Rattler and Sneak Attack, I mean, you're just talking about a lower RG, right?
Correct. Well, the cover stock is different.
Different, right? But pretty similar differential. But
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why I was shocked that it hooked more. But it just could be that the cover needed a little oil on it, or a little oil shine, or lane shine.
Sure.
But I only threw it one game and put it up, and then the Rattler's been working well there. We bowled last night and we beat the team by 255 pins the first game.
Jeez.
And then beat them by 285 the second game.
I mean, no help to you the first game because you shot.
No, I shot 170.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then the last game we were losing in the 8th frame. We won by 70. So we beat them by 6 and change. Total wood. Yeah, and that's a good team too. They were in 4th place.
Do you call that a shellacking, or what kind of old terminology do you use for?
Oh, that was shellacking.
Yeah, that's a shellacking.
I got shellacked. So anyhow, that's the crypto. That's good. That's the sneak attack. And your video is ugly, by the way. Can't even see it.
What do you mean my video is ugly?
Can't see it. The screen is dark. It's gloomy.
You need to get your eyes checked. Who in the chat? To the bowling balls? I mean, yeah, I'm well lit. That's the difference. I'm not shining bright lights on them.
Yeah, well, okay. Anyway,
I think the colors pop on the crypto. I mean, obviously, if you want the ball,
I'm not looking at the crypto. I'm looking at the sneak attack. It's.
Have you ever thought that maybe if you want the ball to look, better on camera, just make it a brighter color?
Or put a light on it. I mean, that's the other way you do it. But anyway, that was it's more than I thought it was going to be. There you go. Look at that. Now I can't see it at all. It's perfect. There you go. See, nice.
Isn't it nice? Look at that.
And it's got like a silver logo, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Silver sparkle.
Then the other ball we have is the Crypto Boom, as I refer to as the Boom.
Boom.
And that video dropped today. Some people had posted it already.
Dropped yesterday.
Well, yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Yesterday,
up
the
on our
release
YouTube
day.
and Facebook. Yep.
Yep, and it's pretty impressive when you watch the ball go down the lane. The HK22 Pearl cover stock really makes that ball come to life.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes it a perfect complement to the original. You know, the original Crypto is more mid lane and smooth. This one's got a little kick to it.
Yeah, and it's not
shelf
like
appeal.
crazy like Katana Assault, you know,
Right.
or the other ASIMs or anything like that, because it's
Right.
obviously symmetrical. So it
Yep.
actually bridges the gap when maybe those balls are just coming off the spot a little bit too hard.
Yeah,
You know.
and I hadn't drilled mine yet. I'm still waiting to go drill it and throw it. But it looks nice. It's got great shelf appeal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the colors are fantastic, and that's that HK22 cover. It not only has a great performance, but it also makes the colors pop. They're more vibrant. That ball's got a 2.48 046, and it's finished 500, 1,000, 1,500, and then compound.
Yeah.
And from watching that video, I'm going to say that's probably going to be a bit stronger than the sneak attack line, but probably not as strong as the Rattlers. You know, or I don't know. Maybe it'll be about the same. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it was for me. It was pretty angular, but not like
Right.
super crazy.
Yeah. What I liked about the motions, I guess, Nick, is the not that they hook more or less. They have about the same amount of hook. It's just where they hook from.
Yeah, it's definitely more on the back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It booms.
And that it booms, and that's what makes the Arsenal what it is. I mean, if you think about the, and on the video we show the counterattack original. I mean, sneak attack original and the solid
Crypto. You're on Crypto.
No, I'm talking about. I'm going to go back a second to the sneak attack. In the video, we show the sneak attack original and the sneak attack solid. Not that big a difference, maybe 3 board difference total.
Well, they haven't seen that video yet.
Video's out.
That video's not out.
The sneak attack video.
Not out. You just sent me the voiceovers like an hour ago.
I'm sorry, wrong one.
I told you we're on Crypto.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Forgive him, folks.
Forgive me. On Crypto, the difference between the original Crypto and the Crypto Pearl was more ball motion, not amount of hook.
Yes. The original Crypto definitely starts up earlier.
Yes.
Boards covered were, ballpark.
Yeah, exactly. They would exactly
how they started up.
Yes. And the reason I got distracted was I just did the video, the voiceover on the sneak attack, and I will give you guys a sneak preview of the sneak attack. We saw the same thing, that there was not a dramatic difference in the amount of hook from the original sneak attack to the sneak attack solid, but the motion was dramatically different.
Yeah.
One was sooner and rounded, and the other one was more down lane.
It was. I mean, the solid cover picks up in a better part of the lane for when we had lined up. That's how we shoot those videos, is we line up, throw about the strike with the new ball,
right,
and then we throw the other ball right on top of it.
Yep.
And that the first one, the original sneak attack, there was a couple times where it kind of went, light mixer or just a little bit behind the head pin where the original went flush.
Yeah.
Yep. There goes Grandpa Simpson again. That's your new nickname, Abraham Simpson.
You know what? You guys are going to not showing up next week. That's it. Hey, what day are we going to have it next week, Mister? I can't have it every same day every time.
We can have it we can have it Wednesdays from here on out. It's fine.
All right. Maybe that's not good with me. But anyway.
Well,
I asked Nick the other day how he did at golf, and he said he hurt his oblique muscle.
No, I didn't hurt my oblique. I wrecked my oblique.
When I was a kid.
Because I actually swing hard, unlike you over there.
You get hurt and you go, oh, I hurt my side. Now we have a muscle or a sub-muscle to the muscle, like these pitchers nowadays that get hurt.
Hey, I don't know.
What happened to Verlander? He had his Trez, whatever.
I don't know. Nobody cares about Verlander. He's in New York.
I know, you're right. So that's what we got on these 2 new balls. They will be at Bowl Expo at the demo day, I believe.
Okay.
Yesterday was the information release date, and they are available on
6/22, the week before Bowl Expo.
22. That's 22. That's when you can have them. You know,
Yeah.
staff balls are probably going out this week.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll see more and more people posting about them as we go.
Yeah, Rob wants to know if there's going to be a live show at Bowl Expo. Live perception versus reality at Bowl Expo.
Well, you're not going to be there, are you?
I'm not going to be there. At least if I am going to be there, I don't know about it yet.
Well, it's a good chance you're not going to be there. And then
it's all right.
Bowl
Florida
Expo is Wednesday, Thursday. So, no, we probably won't have a live show from Bowl Expo.
Florida in June sounds wonderful and all, but
it sounds as exciting to me as January in Muskegon.
Yeah, well, at least you're finally coming up to Muskegon in a month where you can actually see the sun.
I'll be there in 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then, and guys, those tuning in, drop us some notes on maybe some topics for the Radical Rundown. Filming a bunch of them. So if you guys have any ideas, shoot us a note for some topics you might be interested in, and we'll discuss that. So.
Yeah, that's always a big one. You know, we film like 20, 25 at a time.
Yep.
That way Phil doesn't have to burden himself with coming to Michigan more than twice a year.
It's only nice there for 3 weeks, so that's when I have to come up.
Well, hopefully the week you show up is a week that one of the 3. Because we should get out and golf.
Terrible with the rain. Well, how am I going to get time? I have to have time for that. You want me to bowl? You want me to golf? What do you think? What do you think?
You realize it stays light out here till like 10 o'clock right now, right?
Yeah. So we're going to bowl when it's light out?
No. We'll just do what all the professionals do. Say we have a tummy ache at 1 o'clock and then go see Dr. Green. See, I said tummy. I didn't say my esophagus.
Yeah, right. Lower intestine inflammation or something like that.
My favorite is contusion.
Yeah, it's a bruise. You know, I have a contusion. You have a bruise.
Yeah, you got a bruise. No, I had a contusion. I'm out 10 days.
I have a sore arm. Okay, put some heat on it and rest. No, I need 30 days. I need 30 days.
I tell you what, like you can make fun of, my side hurting or whatever, but it's still, I'm 3 days after the injury. Yeah. And every time I sneeze, I just want to cry because it hurts.
Well, don't sneeze.
I try not to, but sometimes you don't think about sneezing until it's too late. Your body's just going to do it. And you're like, oh yeah, I got to sneeze. And then you're like, no, don't. Too late.
Well, let's open up for some questions, huh? What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. We got any topics? You guys throw out the questions, and we'll be we'll open it up to more of a Q&A today than a normal podcast with topics. We've covered the few we wanted to talk about. Talked about the new balls.
Yeah. The sneak attack video for Throwbot will be out tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll get that finished up now that I have your voiceovers, and
then next week we'll talk about some other balls that were launched.
Yeah, we got other brands to talk about next week. So spread them out a little bit and talk about those next week.
Yeah. So
see what we got. Let's see what we got. Got to scroll from the top. Here we go. John wants to know what goes into determining which balls become dot and which balls use traditional pin.
Company-wide, they moved to dot for warranty purposes. They were able to offer longer warranties and also for drilling purposes. So you could drill closer to the pin.
The dot.
Which is the dot.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite side of where the pin is, which is the top of the core, which in a traditional ball would be the pin. The reason we hadn't changed, Radical has not changed, is because a lot of the cores that we had done with the traditional pin would have to have all the molds redone and everything else. And we have some cores we want to I don't want to say recycle, but we want to use parts of those cores that are still usable in shape wise, and maybe add a different top to it or a different bottom to it. So we hadn't made that switch, and also our failure rate is less than 0.5%. So, why change something? That old expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we've left it alone. But I think are all the other brands dot right now? I think they all are, aren't they?
They're using at least some
Yeah,
in each brand.
in each brand, right? Yeah, we're the only ones.
You're the only holdout.
Right, right. I'm holding out for more money.
The Soich for more money.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. The
So
I think you should go back to the Mo pins. Do you remember those?
when the size of them?
Yeah, remember the
Oh,
gigantic
yeah. Yeah,
when
I
he
have
had the
no idea
gigantic
what.
Mo. At least on the Mo Heritage, I think he missed an opportunity there.
Yeah, we could have put a pin that was 3 inches round on the top of the ball.
It's just
Perfect.
all pin.
It's all pin. The top of your
Don't
ball is one pin. Don't drill near the pin.
don't drill near the pin.
So every ball would have a 2-inch pin.
Ah. Yeah, it's
So
funny.
that was it. That was it. No, that's how we choose it. It's mostly the other brands, and it's by I guess by the mechanical design. We
Yeah,
didn't make that move yet.
yeah. Typically, if a new core design is being designed, it'll be designed with dot. You won't find it on the lower and the entry stuff,
Right.
for just the sake of, because it's a longer process
Yeah.
to design, and just it's a different
And it's a
makeup of the
cost issue. Now you got to do the whole thing over again. You got to make new molds, and you got to, I mean, it's just a whole expensive process.
Yeah,
So
so
we
it's
haven't switched.
definitely more performance oriented, but yeah, it's an ingenious design, and
It really is.
I
It really
can't
is.
believe it took that long for anyone to be like, hey, maybe we should put a pin on the bottom.
On the bottom. Well, you know what? Originally, let's go back to the old days. The Cobras were made that way.
Were they?
The original AMF Cobra was made with the pin on the bottom.
Mhm.
And when we were laying balls out for the guys on the truck, they would have, if they had a ball they liked, a Cobra, and they would drill another one, it wouldn't roll the same. They couldn't figure out why. Well, because they were going off of CGs on the top.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
what we did was we figured out you put a quarter scale on it, where they intersect on top is where you had
Your actual top of the core.
false pin, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's what we had to do. But the original ones are on the bottom. And they were also, if you remember, the plugs were the same color as the ball, the pins.
I don't remember because I was 10 years old.
So you had to wet sand the ball a little bit to see the difference in the pin. And if you hot plugged it, sometimes you couldn't find the pin. So
Yeah, the what was it? What ball was it? On the Phantoms, on some of the locator pins for the PSA were the same color, and the same thing. You had to dull up the ball a little bit to see it.
And then you had to go looking for that little image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it. It was tough. And if, like I say, if you poured the ball when it was still hot, if the ball was still hot and not fully cured yet, and you came by with the plug to pour in the place where the pin was, if it was hot, the ball was hot, sometimes you wouldn't even see it. And that was an issue. Yeah, it's about over here.
we got a lot of comments that wanted you to throw shots when you come here. So
I don't listen to that stuff. It's just jibber jabbish.
We're gonna lose people watching our show just because you're not gonna give the people what they want. People want to see Phil bowl.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see.
I mean, I want to see Phil bowl. I want to record that.
Yeah, I know you do. You want to try to make mock.
No, I figure
I used to bowl. My buddy Joey sent me a picture last week, and he goes, "Remember this guy?" And I looked at it, it was me, and I go, "No." It was a picture of me bowling from behind, and I said, "No, I don't."
Back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. It was when I was a kid.
When you were a kid, not when you had the Mario phase going on.
I did. No, I did. It was the same time. I'm trying to find it.
You had a lot of phases.
I did.
So I actually found some old pictures of you in the crowd at the PBA show.
That's funny. I made a bet with a guy one time that I was going to be on TV that week. I had bowled the tour stop, and obviously I didn't bowl well enough to make the show or anything. But I bet him I was going to be on the show, and I bet him dinner. And I sat in the show. I was in the front row. And I won the bet. It is. I had the picture. I don't know if I can blow it up big enough. Pretty funny.
Comparison GB4 hybrid. While you're looking for that, GB4 hybrid versus Crypto Boom. They're going to be similar. Let's see what we got there. It's going to be hard to see. Yeah, the picture's in the wrong spot there. Wow.
Yeah. So he sends me that, and he goes, "You recognize this guy?" I go, "No, not anymore."
Oh.
So
four score and 84 years ago.
84 years ago, exactly. It's a long time. GB4 versus Crypto Boom. I have no idea about the GB4. Maybe you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So one's Pearl, one's hybrid. If anything, the Crypto might be a touch cleaner. I mean, they're both about the same specs overall. Um, I think they're going to be comparable. I'll probably do a comparison in the future on my own channel and just see how they are heads up, because that'll be a good comparison. So
That would be right.
yeah, it'd be pretty close. Both
Good.
balls and upper 040s and lower RGs with HK22. One's Pearl, one's hybrid. So let's see. I'm going down. We're going to get through all the questions. We're going to keep the show going as long as the questions are going.
That's right. You keep the questions, we'll keep the show.
That's right. I mean, last week we did an hour and a half show, but we'll see how long today goes. All right, Greg.
This is the compliment to the Bigfoot hybrid. No, yeah, compliment. Yeah, I think so, because the hybrid's a stronger core. The Bigfoot hybrid's a stronger core. It's an overall bigger ball. I think the Crypto will be a little smoother, more mid lane. And they both have similar cover stocks. One is a HK22 hybrid, and the other one's HK22 Pearl.
Yeah,
but both being HK22.
A little more dynamic core out of the Bigfoot.
Yeah, the Bigfoot. I think that's a little bigger ball,
especially after drilling.
You have a. If you have both of those, they won't be on top of each other. Yep. That's for sure.
And if they're too close, surface one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can make the Bigfoot much stronger with a little surface on it, and that would create bigger separation. But if you drill them both the same, you'd probably have a big difference and good complement.
All right. JD wants to know, does the Crypto core have any relation to the old Brunswick Inferno core?
It does. It does have a relation. It is the third great grandson removed or whatever. But it's a variation.
Father's, brothers, sisters, former roommate.
Exactly.
What does that make us?
It actually has very, very similar tendencies. That ball was great in its day, and I'm certainly going to take advantage of the technology that core had. And then we added different cover stock to it and some different densities, and shape is a little bit different. But yes, it is a derivative.
I had to put this one up there for you. I don't know why. Yankees are climbing. What are they in, like third place now?
Actually, they are in third place, and their record is 1 game behind the Dodgers, by the way. Your first place Dodgers. So, last night was exciting. 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, 2 strikes on Judge, and hits a home run, tied a game.
They were losing?
They were losing 5-4. And then in the 10th inning, in the carnival baseball that we get, with the man on second automatically.
Wait, do you have permission to disseminate this game from Major League Baseball? Express written consent?
I do. It's right here. Look.
Let me see.
It's by the New York Yankees. And then they hit a ground ball, got him over to third, and then Volpe hit a fly ball and scored the run. So no one got a hit, and they scored a run.
Recap guy.
So anyway, they're playing well. They're playing Orioles tonight. And I'll go home and watch that one.
Okay. Lewis wants to know, since we're done talking about baseball, we've expunged our amount of time we can talk about baseball. So sneak attack.
My buddy Luis. Go ahead.
Similar to the counterattack.
It's a little bit stronger ball overall. The counterattack, and I think Luis does well with a counterattack. He's got a lot of hand.
Oh, you know him personally?
I bowl with him.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you know him.
He and Kelsey Anderson, our staffer down here, who did make the cut at the Queens, got into the match play round, are engaged.
Oh, very cool.
And I'm real good friends with them and the family. So Luis likes the counterattack, and they're similar, but the sneak attack's a little bit stronger, and the sneak attack solid is a little bit stronger than that. It's going to be one of those you can throw it to the dry, and it won't overhook too much.
Okay.
So
Randy says, when it comes to drilling balls with short pins and long pins, what will the balls do differently? Well, you can actually see that on pretty much every symmetrical video we do on Throwbot.
Yep.
We always put a short pin versus a longer pin. Now, if you're talking about pin to CG distances, like out of the box specs, then no difference whatsoever. You put the pin wherever it needs to go, you put the match bias wherever it needs to go, and the CG is irrelevant.
Right.
But if you're talking about shorter pin to PAPs versus longer pins, I mean, longer pins are always going to typically go a little longer and recover a lot harder and be able to play more open angles than a short pin. Short pin kind of keeps you straighter angles better, and smooths out that reaction. Because
And
you
the
take a lot
longer
of the
pins,
core.
they flare more.
Oh, night and day.
And they flare. So therefore, when they see friction, they react harder to the friction.
Right.
So remember, if it's side-to-side friction, they're going to hook when they see the side-to-side friction too. So if you're looking at 10 and you hit 7, it's going to grab up real quick because of it flares so much more.
All right. David wants to know if I'm going to compare the Bigfoot hybrid and the Crypto Boom since they both have HK22. I am not going to compare those two just because the Bigfoot's a little older now. And with all the newer releases, I'm just not going to go back that far. I did reach back and get some older balls, like some of the older hammer balls that I thought were unique enough to do. But I mean, we're looking 6 months old now. Not going to be able to go back and test those. We got Bull Expo launches coming. We got all new ones coming. Going to be pretty busy over the summer here. There we go. Derek says we should film our radical rundown from the golf course.
No. Wait, where's my button? Is it not working?
Wow.
That was a very violent no, aggressive.
Goodness.
It's an aggressive no.
You haven't pushed that button in a while. It's
yeah, he was pissed. The guy in the button is pissed.
It's like he's just
he really was upset.
No.
I didn't even know that one was on there.
Oh, goodness. All right. Brian wants to know, I have issues with bowling balls hooking too early and burning up. I love the look of the original Crypto, but was afraid it would burn up. What can I do to avoid that? Brian, easiest way to avoid that is to move in towards more oil. Or if that isn't working because the lanes are just too dry and the ball's too aggressive, then you'll need to bring the surface up to a shinier state because the original Crypto is pretty dull out of the box.
And I know Nick gave the definitive answer of moving in, but a lot of people aren't comfortable doing that. And if you want to keep the lines in front of you, pins further from your PAP so that the ball doesn't start up and store some energy. But it's usually all about surface.
Yeah. Or
but remember, the shiny, yeah, exactly, sneak attack. But if the shinier you make it, you just move the hook further down the lane.
Well, so keeps you in the zone. It keeps you in the zone you're comfortable with. I mean, it's either you got to move your feet or you got to throw it harder. I mean, that's pretty much.
I don't do that well. Throw it harder. So I rely on surface and drill patterns.
Well, you are left-handed, so you want your lanes to be oiled so you can stand on the big dot, throw it second arrow, and have free coffee for your senior leagues.
Thank you. I will.
Is that right? Did I get all? Is that the trifecta of?
Oh, you covered it all.
The trifecta of AARP bowling.
That's AARP bowling. Correct. You got it. I don't want to move and bring me the coffee.
Yeah. Abe Simpson. The Abe Simpson. The Abe Simpson logic of bowling. Priorities change when you hit that golden years.
You got it.
It's funny. Another question. I mean, people are interested with Crypto Boom versus Bigfoot and Bigfoot hybrid.
Well, like I say, the Boom is more mid lane. It's if you remember the Inferno in those days, that type of ball motion was very popular. Danger zone ball motion was more mid lane ball motion. We wanted to get that with the Cryptos because a lot of its ASIM balls that were strong would hook way hard off the spot, and then if you threw them down a lane, they were very angular. This ball is more of a house shot killer. Stand there and use the oil as hold, feed it to the dry. It's a rounded ball motion. It's not as big of a ball as the Bigfoots were, so you don't have to. You're not dealing with a massive amount of hook. although the solid was more hooked, the solid sneak attack solid is more hooked than I thought it was going to be. But I think you're looking at a ball that's got more of a control than both big feet.
Big feet.
Big feet. There's two of them.
Not big foots.
No, it's not big foots. It's big feet.
we got Hank in the chat.
Is he back? There he is.
He wants to know what's the layout on your Rattler, Phil, and of course, what balls are selling the best.
I just recently drilled a Rattler that I'm having a lot of success with in the last few weeks, and I made the pin a little stronger. I put the pin at 3 3/4, so the ball burns up a little bit down lane.
That is strong for you. I mean, do you put that pin up or down, or where does it go?
It's up. It's up. It's a little bit up above. It's right around even with the ring finger, but it's tilted more towards my PAP. And I got the CG almost in the center of my grip.
Okay.
And I've had some really good success with it because it doesn't. My biggest problem is my ball speed is low and the ball ricochets off the spot. Everything I throw. And this one sort of burns up a little bit. I'm sorry?
That's not your biggest problem.
No, that is my biggest problem. and you on the show on Wednesdays is the second biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem.
And of course, the balls that are selling the best right now, the Innovator Solid is doing very, very well, and so is the Outer Limits. Surprisingly, the Rattler is still selling.
That ball came out October? Is that when that ball?
Yeah.
September,
and
October?
The Katana Assault is still bowling. It was still selling them and having to build more.
That's perfect.
So, thank you for asking.
That's all the information we can give on that subject, sir.
Hank.
Randy wants to know, will there be a new conspiracy in the pipeline?
We tested, I will tell you this, we did test a conspiracy with HK22. And I don't know if that's going to come out or not, but it was a good test. So that's all I will say about that.
A question from our own Rob Johnson. I've seen a lot of balls using the bottom flip blocks to preserve the dynamic of the ball after drilling. In theory, if you flip the ball upside down and use the Deviate two-handed drilling system, would it have the same effect that you get from drilling the Troublemaker? No, because
no.
I mean,
no. The core's not. You got to remember one thing: the core's not in the center of the ball, necessarily.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing with the Troublemaker is that the core is gigantic, and drilling 3 inches is how deep it takes just to start taking mass out of the outer ring. So like a couple of the layouts, you don't touch core at all. So like in the mid-range layouts and like the 3.5 inch pin to center grip, you don't touch the core at all. So that gives you more of a, rounded shape, more of a, out of benchmark type ball motion. But no, the flip block would have to be massive to even touch it with the finger holes only.
Yeah, and then you couldn't really, if you think about it, the flip block that's on the bottom now, we're talking, for it to be an influence, it'd have to be massively heavy if you were going to flip the ball over and drill into it. So, or like Nick said, it'd be closer to the top. And if it's closer, you'd have to make it so light if you moved it so close to the bottom that you could flip over and drill into it. Or else you'd have bottom weight in the ball.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the theory, but it's mostly with just the size and shape of the core, being able to take mass out, and you got to get that gigantic core. But that's why it's patent pending, and that's why the technology is ours.
Yep.
All right, Joseph, whose leg do I got to hump to find a new inbox Mo Rich Colossus 15 pounds?
Nick.
I mean, I don't think it'll help you find it, but I mean, if you want to try, you'd be better off finding or getting a DeLorean and hooking up 88 miles per hour and going back in time.
New in a box Colossus. No, I don't even know. Nah, couldn't even help.
That's gonna be a hard find. I think that was that shiny black one, ASIM from Mo, early ball from Mo Rich.
Don't know much about it.
But I'd imagine if you put a feeler out there, you might be able to find someone that has it. But whether they're willing to part with it. And here's the other thing, and this is I talk about this sometimes, is bowling balls are not like a fine wine. You know, if a ball's been sitting in storage for
Yeah.
20, 30 years,
Right.
it typically doesn't get better with age. You know,
No.
you know, bowling
They're gonna get.
balls,
I know they will get brittle.
they do get brittle. You know, you start seeing some micro cracking. I've seen some of those from the balls in the 90s.
Yep. Yep.
You know, you sometimes see some shrinking of the cover stock a little bit because it's still curing over the, you know, couple of decades. So bowling balls will never be better than when they're first poured off the line.
Right. And then those balls that Nick's referring to that seem to be shrinking, when you drill into them, you've created a massive, I don't know what the right word is, tension, and they're going to probably split. A lot of them will split because of that. There's so much pressure built up, pulled inward, that when you drill into it, it's like poking your hole in the cellophane on like a meat pack or something. You just put your finger in there and all of a sudden it just splits open.
Yeah.
So it'll be like that.
Yeah. I mean, I might put it to the test because I have a C System Versamax, which is now about 11 years old
Yeah.
at my best with no holes in it. So I don't know that it would be as good as when it was brand new. Who knows?
Well, plus the environment's not the same either.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
and my rev rate and my talent level, sliding scale. But hey,
I didn't know you can go negative on those things, but okay, let's move on.
I mean, that takes real talent there.
Yes, it does.
All right, Charlie Tapp, our guy Charlie. Will the new balls be on the PBA truck at the Senior Masters?
When is the Senior Masters?
Great question.
Oh, we have to write our questions to the people now. I'm going to write Charlie a note. When I'm going to text him. When is the Senior Master?
they're probably en route now, and who knows how. Senior Masters, I don't know, probably in June, I would think.
Yeah, they'll be there. I'm sure they would, right?
Sure. I hope so.
Charlie, we're going to say yeah. I don't know if it's true, but I'm saying yeah.
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 Yeah. See? Yeah. All right, let's fast track a couple of these so we can get kind of ahead of them. We're starting to get a lot of questions. So
okay, go ahead.
Intel Special Edition versus this new Sneak Attack.
This new Sneak Attack looks a lot more.
Yeah, we're talking Pearl versus.
Yeah. I love the Intel SE, and this is a lot more.
Yeah.
You know. Mm-hmm.
Cowboy, why didn't the results course stay around longer? It rolled really well for me.
COVID.
That's a good reason. Yeah, I mean that kind of put a stop to anything that was being made. You know,
we got hit with COVID, and then we had other stuff in the pipeline, and we had new technologies, and didn't want to go backwards.
Yeah, I mean personally, I didn't match up well to the results, so I mean,
no, neither did I.
If it rolled well for you, great. You know, and it probably rolled well for a lot of different people. But
no, it sold well too. We did very well with the results, but COVID hit us, and that put the brakes on it for a while. And then after that, we were already working on the maximum results, and the Katana Assault was in the works too. No.
Joseph Bailey, would you bring back one of the original Radical cores with HK22?
Yeah, we're working on some of that. We're testing them a little at a time to see which ones fit. You know, not every core. You know, some companies and our competition does it a lot. They put a core in different and just rename it and put a different cover stock on it, or the same cover. You know, you can do that with the same cover and rename it, but when you start taking cores and assume they're going to be more work automatically with a different cover stock, you're just throwing it up against the wall and hoping it sticks. You know, we test it and make sure that the ball performs the way it's supposed to perform with the new cover on it. It's not automatic.
Or hope nobody notices it's the same thing they've been buying for the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Little BG, Brian Garland. Why do we still mark CGs?
Probably a bad habit we have.
I'm trying to kick it.
I think there still is a rule, though, Brian. You know that. I mean, it's 3 ounces now is the rule.
There still is a limit, and that limit can be met.
Yeah, there's a way to beat it. I mean, I get a 4-ounce ball and put it 6 3/4 from the center of my grip, and I'll have 4 ounces of side weight.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That's illegal. That's why I don't know where the mark is.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, 3 ounce. I mean, it still takes a pretty big shift of that
Yeah,
CG.
6 3/4 would be the shift, right?
No, I mean, if you got 3 ounce top weight,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, every inch you shift that CG from the center of your grip
Yeah.
will be 1 ounce difference in side or finger, whichever way you go. But it
Okay.
offsets. That's more true with the side weight, not so much finger thumb, because
Side
with
weight
the
I'm talking about, right?
interchangeables, you
Yeah,
take
that's true. You're taking weight out.
taking a lot more mass out of the core with
Yeah,
the big
yeah,
interchangeables.
yeah.
So, but yeah, you can go with a 3 ounce top. You can go 3 inch difference. But like, if you think about that on an asymmetrical ball, if you had that, if it was all in line and you went with like a, I don't know, a 4 inch pin by, I don't know, 20-degree mass bias, and that CG gets out like 3 inches, 3.5.
Mhm.
Why would that layout very strong early and rolly? I mean,
You might get there.
yeah, you might get there, but that's an extreme layout that we don't really
Mhm.
recommend because
Mm.
the ball is going to have very little energy at the back.
Right.
Okay. Earthworm Jim. Which radical balls are crushing nationals?
So
Well,
Bobby was on, I'm sorry, how many, couple of weeks ago, right? And then I spoke to him again after that, and he said Rattlers were doing well. Original Sneak Attacks were doing well. And Outer Limits, when they had to move in, were doing well.
Okay.
You know,
And we haven't bowled yet, so
no.
we can't tell you what we're crushing it with.
And I'm probably not going to bring any of those balls. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I haven't decided because we're gonna. I
I think I
mean,
did. I think I did.
you think you did?
I think I did.
You taught Utah.
I thought a putty cat. I think I did. I really do. I think I come up with what I'm going to bring.
A lot of talk about Intel this show.
I know. I know.
People just want the Intel. It's going to be a flagship ball.
I love the Intel. You know I do.
I mean, technically, we haven't killed the name. We just haven't brought it back again.
Correct.
Super special edition.
Yeah, I love the Intel, and I don't know. Maybe I will put a test request in for an Intel with HK. See what it does.
Here we go. You have some experience with this question.
Okay.
What causes pro CG balls to be created? Is this intentionally done for niche requests, or is it just an accident in the production process?
Most times it's an accident in the process. So, yeah, most of the pro pin CGs have low top weights. So that means that the core is probably shifted downward in the ball, and that would create it to be pulled further away from the center of the grip. As the top weights go up, the pins get pulled in a little bit. So that's a process issue. It could be a 64th of an inch or a 32nd of an inch shift in the core would cause the pins to start to move out.
Yeah.
So it's a process issue.
My boy Gary wants to know if when you make the trip up to Muskegon, is the leg lamp coming up? You come up here for the show.
Maybe I'll bring it with me. How would that? You know what? I'll bring it on the plane. Put it in the seat next to me.
Buy it its own ticket.
Buy it its own ticket. This is my leg lamp.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine TSA as that thing rolls through the X-ray? You just see this leg. You hear someone in the background, like
exactly. No, Gary, the leg lamp is not coming up there.
Oh man, sorry, Gary.
Yeah, sorry.
A lot of talk about conspiracies too. Any chance of getting another conspiracy?
Like I said, we worked on it. We tested some covers, so I'm never going to say no. But right now, it's not on the radar. It's on the list, but it's not on any of the schedules yet.
All right. Great show, Jed Davis says. So is there really a difference in an old ball and new ball? Assume both have HK22 with similar RG and differential.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, it's a little different question. I'm saying, I guess if it was in pertaining to bowling balls that were sitting on the shelf. No, I think he's talking about like if a ball sat for 5 years or something, would there be a performance difference? Or, you might have to rephrase the question, Jed. Are you talking about if the core numbers are similar, but they're different? I mean, it all comes down to what the numbers are after drilling, and that's coming down to what kind of mass you take out with the drilling holes. So core shape does matter in that regard. So if there's
If
similar
he's-
numbers before drilling.
So he's talking about if I have an old ball
Hmm.
and they both an old core and a new core.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know.
I'm sorry, Jed.
Sorry, Jed.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
let's see. David, how do you think the crypto boom will look at nationals based on what you currently know about the patterns? Would it be more of a singles and doubles ball?
I'm not bringing mine. I haven't even thrown it or drilled it, and I'm not bringing it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the ball might come and play later for team. I've seen a lot of people playing further in, when they
Okay.
break down.
Right.
You're going to need some friction to throw this ball out of box. If you surface it up, you could probably get into it a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on your ball speed and such like that. So typically, I mean, just the clips I've been seeing, I have not been shiny pearl bowling balls being thrown,
Right. Right. I'm going to stay away from shiny pearls this year altogether.
Yeah. I mean, Reno in the past at USBCs have hooked quite plenty.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also been fairly wide open. So I was able to use a lot more different equipment.
I think I'm going to go with more solids, ASIM solids.
Yeah.
I
haven't decided yet. I'll probably do a video about it when I finally decide the 6 I bring.
Huh.
All right. McCase. I hope I'm saying that right. How many games would you suggest between cleaning your balls?
Well, I'm the worst guy in the world to ask.
Because you don't touch.
I don't touch them.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, you want to wipe your ball every shot. You want to get the oil off the ball every shot.
I don't even do that.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'll take this one, Phil.
You take this one, please. I don't even have a towel.
Yeah, you do. You get a special towel.
A special towel. It stays in the bag.
Yeah. If you're wiping your ball every shot and getting the oil off, that'll preserve a lot of the oil that gets sucked back in, and also make your bowling ball react in the most similar way when you throw it again. Because if you throw it with oil on the ball, you'll have a tendency to overskid. Now, cleaning it, I mean, there's some people who do it after every 3-game set. They just spray it down with a towel and clean off all the sediment and all the belt marks and everything else like that. And then there's the opposite coin of the spectrum here with Phil, who would rather just drill a new ball because he can.
I know. It just uses the same ball.
I don't clean my stuff a lot personally either. I like, I'll hit it with surface and stuff like that to refresh the surfaces when I'm going into competition. But I also bowl 3 games a week. Typically I'm not doing a whole lot of that. So I will say from, when I had my pro shops, I would always recommend getting your grips changed out about every 60 games and getting the ball sweated out and a light resurfacing done at 60 games. And the duller balls you want to do more often because they're going to go away from the factory finish a lot quicker, where a ball like, say, Crypto Boom, which is already compound, is going to stay pretty similar to that surface once it, lane shines. But a ball that's 500, 1500, which is going to come out of the box, scanned at like almost 1,000.
Right.
That's going to come up to 3,000, 4,000, in about the same amount of time. But you're going to see a big performance drop off because it's no longer out of box. So if you got a dull ball, you got to keep up on it more with surface, more or less, than just cleaning it. And that's a big misconception. Is there's a difference between cleaning and a big difference between actually surfacing a ball.
Right. We did a video on that a while back, perception reality video. We talked about a ball out of the box and how many games it took to change surface. If you remember that one, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And it pretty quickly, within 30 games, it was, they already had altered it enough where it was a different bowling ball.
Oh yeah, even after 10, it was
10 was the first check, right?
10 was the first check, yeah.
And, so if you really want to look that up, go to the YouTube and look up perception reality video. You got to find it. I don't remember which one it was, but it's in there. And it was interesting.
3 or 4, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was early. Yeah. but not the new Perception Reality, old Perception Reality videos. Right?
Yeah, the one where we picked on brands. That was more fun. David Conover, which ball do you wish that you have designed? Which ball came out like in your heyday in the 90s even? Which ball? I mean, obviously Excalibur, but go on. Which ball do you wish?
But I did design a lot of them.
Well, there's always the one where you're like, wow, that's a really good ball. I should.
No, Danger Zone but that was more cover stock than design.
Yeah.
And that was the #1 selling ball, and the same thing with the Brunswick Rhinos. That was cover stock, not core designs. I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of the winners with the track days. We killed them.
Yep.
The Heat, the Elite, the Shark. Those are all track balls. So,
I watch a lot of those old shows, and I got to be honest with you, a lot of those balls rolled forward.
Well, they had to in those days. That was the purpose. That was the goal.
Poor Amleto, some of those shows, his ball rolled so forward at the end, and just watching him shake his head when he goes bucket and then 4-pin.
Right.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I know. Yeah. One of the guys that had a big advantage in those days until resin came out was DeAntremont. He could roll them out, and roll them out high flush.
Yeah. Yeah. He had some sweet roll.
He really did. He had, and then when resin came out, it made everybody catch up to him. Yeah, he was a great guy. Good guy.
Here's a follow-up from before. I drilled the Columbia TIBs a couple of years ago. It surely was not as good as it was 25 years ago. And I think that's the perception. When you're bowling that long ago, I mean, obviously your skill set's different. The lanes you're bowling is different. The oil that was put down is different. Absolutely. You have a very, if I drilled an old ball from that era that I thought was awesome, nowadays I'd be like, oh, this ball is just basic. It's not anything special. It's just my memory of it was more important than the actual performance of it.
You got to realize in those days, 15 units was a lot of oil. Now you put 100.
Yeah.
So we build the balls for the roads we bowl on. The tires are the balls, and the lanes are the roads. When the roads changed, the tires changed. So they started cleaning them more in the back and flooding them more in the front. We had to have balls that did different things.
And the mastermind behind it all had staffers that can bowl on anything they put out.
Absolutely right.
All right. Philip, hey, there's no bowling instructors in San Antonio. Do you teach?
I do not. I emphatically say that. I am not a good teacher.
He's a good talker.
Yeah, but I'm not a good teacher. There are some coaches down here that are pretty good. You got to look them up. If you're from the area and you want me to try to find somebody for you, shoot me a message somewhere, and I'll recommend somebody I know that's probably good at it or would help you. I don't know what skill level you're at, but no, I'm not good. I'll tell you that right now. I know what to tell you to do, but I'm not good at. I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah.
They
don't pay you enough for that.
No.
Gabriel says, we know Nick's bringing Purple Hammer. That is absolutely true.
Nick is bringing the Purple Hammer.
I am bringing the Purple Hammer. It'll be the first ball I throw.
The Perp Dog. Dog.
Nope. Nope. Here we go. I knew this was going to come up. Is this the first podcast that isn't going to talk about lane 38 and 41 at the Queens? Absolutely. Do you remember? Obviously know what happened, right?
I know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it.
No.
What's the sense?
I don't think it changed one iota about anything in the tournament. The people that bowled on that pair, I think they said the number was like 25% made the cut or something like that, which is about the field for the cut. So I don't.
So now you're talking about it. You see, you gave in.
I didn't give about it. I just said, likely there's something that happened on that lane, and the tournament's over.
I guess every podcast spent their time talking about it.
That's all right.
So, right.
We didn't give it a full title.
No.
We just acknowledged its existence.
Well, we didn't. He did, and we just gave it credibility.
Hey, I said we're going to answer every question in the chat.
No, you're right. You did.
So I'm not about to be a liar on this podcast. Not now. Not ever. Let's see. John, the CG question is indirectly related to my pro CG question. As a righty, I would never buy a pro CG ball with the CG marked out a line to the right. I know CG no matter, but I want to stay legal. I mean, that's essentially all that it's going to be. You have to consider. You know, if the ball is that marked out a line and you have a layout that you want, then yeah, just pass up on the pro CG. Just buy a first quality.
Yeah,
that's bottom line. But yeah, just pro CGs. I mean, it's it's a manufacturing defect. So
that's what it is.
The performance is still good, but something went oopsie along the line.
Yeah.
Oh man, Joey wants to bring back the torrid affair. No.
The ball did well.
Yeah.
The ball sold well. It was a good-looking ball. It had its place.
You say that about every ball.
No, I don't. We have balls that didn't do well.
Look,
we did terrible with the Primos. Did not do well.
No one thinks any of their own kids are ugly.
That's not true. I'll tell you if they are.
No one ever thinks any of their own farts don't stink.
Yeah, whatever.
Carlo wants to know any possibility of a Lev RG making the Mo Heritage Series.
No.
We
don't own the rights to those cores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
none
of the Mo Rich cores we have a right.
Jim Young, Nick, I'm looking for a ball in between the Spy and the Katana Assault for the House of Pain. Are either of these ball launches going to be a good fit? I would say yes to the Sneak Attack.
Wait a second. The guy's talking about the ultra low on one spectrum and the ultra high, and you're picking out a ball. There's 30 balls in between.
Yeah, because I've seen him bowl, and you actually bowl with him, but you don't know.
Okay.
He obviously does better with stuff he can keep in front of him, and the Katana gets pretty bendy for him.
I bet.
So I am biasing towards the side of lower dynamics to keep him more in line.
Okay.
Jim, I've had a lot more success there with balls that don't flare a lot. I shot my highest series there with a dark web hybrid, and I also shot 300 there with bonus. So, both balls playing the same part of the lane, just kind of harder and straighter.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Camp, my boy Linda Camp. How quick does a ball COR or new ball carry go away generally? Earl used to drill new balls every tournament. I don't think that's changed in 40 years. That people still drill new balls every tournament.
Yeah, I don't think the coefficient of restitution changes that much where it's measurable. Not it's a whole system. You got cover stock, and then you have inner core now, and then dense heavy core. Earl used the new ball because he liked the new surfaces. But when you talk about now with the outer core and the inner core, that's where the coefficient of restitution is usually taking place.
Yeah, and I think guys drill new balls more for the cover, strength. Having a they always say, "Oh, fresh covers." Because the balls wear out, especially if you have a long format tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than, a golf pro drilling putting a new driver head on, or getting new wedges 8 times a year. I think I read Tiger Woods had 8 sets of wedges one season just because he wanted fresh faces for every event.
Yeah. Well,
it's no different, whatever sport.
That's exactly right.
I wonder if whoever disc golf, if you change your discs around because it gets scratched up or whatever, how often
if it gets scratched up, you would, right?
You would think, right? If you hit a tree enough times and you scratch it up, that's got to affect the flight, right?
Right.
Does that change the RG or the differential?
I got to get new friends.
That was good. You stop. Knock it off. All right, we got a fast track. We're getting running out of time here, but we got a lot of questions, and if we don't get to them all, Phil will gladly go back and answer.
I usually do. I go back and try to answer as many as I can if we didn't cover it. But go ahead.
All right, we're gonna fast track these, and some of these are duplicates, so we're gonna probably 1 word or 2 word you there. Sorry, Jonathan Ing was a crypto core design based on the Inferno.
We talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it already. It was it's a derivative.
Yep. Wes Bowman, Teal Rhino, perhaps. I don't know. Perhaps. We're just gonna go through these. Another follow-up comment. Yeah, that TI Beast is now a spare ball. I mean, lower flare ball. I love the titanium beast, a super beast at least. That was my favorite. Yeah. Going down. General question. Yeah. Would a thicker cover stock help extend a ball's lifespan, and does it have no effect on the amount of oil that's absorbed?
No effect. It
No
has no
effect. Yeah.
effect because you
Yeah.
can't get past. You're not getting down that far into the cover that you should say that the cover is oil saturated.
Yeah.
You can resurface it or clean it up and get it out.
Yeah. Thicker shell, in the terms of lifespan of durability, absolutely. You know, the
Yeah.
thicker shells have a harder time cracking under any
Right.
circumstance.
Right.
But when you go to thicker shell designs, you are limited to the dynamics of the core.
Yeah. For durability, yes. For a lifespan, for oil absorption, absolutely not. Doesn't matter.
No,
Right.
it's not like an everlasting gobstopper or anything like that.
A what?
Candy,
Never mind.
jawbreaker.
All right.
What'd you call jawbreakers back in the day?
Jawbreakers.
You didn't call them gobstoppers?
No.
Oh, all right. I think you were deprived in the boroughs.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think I was. Believe me, I
Did
had
your-
a great childhood.
Did your stick and stickball have splinters on it?
Yes, it did. And we used to sand it and put black tape for the handle.
All
And
right.
you only got one a year, maybe
Oh.
one every 2 years or so.
Yeah, unless you beat up a kid and took another one.
Well,
All right, you guys know, the great Yami wants to know, you guys know if the similarity between the One Remix and the Outer Limits. The one is a choice in my leagues. Outer Limits just as good. I tested them both. One Remix is a shiny or solid, where the Outer Limits is HK22 hybrid. The numbers on the One Remix are insanely high for both differential and intermediate. I think that one's more skid flip for me than Outer Limits. I see the Outer Limits as just a little bit, more rounded compared, but that's just only because the One Remix is pretty angular. Wes Bowman, how about making an HK22 solid ball?
we haven't done that yet. I'm sure
There's
that's going to come, but we hadn't done it yet, right?
Not a lot of them, even company wide. It's been done.
Has
but,
it?
Yeah.
Did we make any in the company?
Not for Radical, I don't think, but for
No, but I mean in the
DVA,
company.
Brutal Collision.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has been done, but you don't see it as much as the Pearls, just because you're going to see more performance. HK22 was originally derived to make shiny performance stronger on the back, and also make the colors look better and cleaner down the lane and more flip on the back. That's what it was designed for. So that's why you don't see a lot of solids.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Ayers, anything similar to the bonus Pearl in the current line? I can't get the bonus Pearl though. I can't get rid of the bonus Pearl though. It's so good.
Yeah. No, we don't have. Well, the sneak attack is the closest thing we have, right?
Sneak attack. Yep. I think we are all
good deal.
Gosh, Demisio, how about a SC Grease Monkey?
How about no?
Joseph, would you ever consider a Scout Power Groove type ball? That's super entry level. Actually, fun fact: Power Grooves were an entry level price point, but that puck system, the differentials were really high. If you look up the numbers, I'm not mistaken, they were like 040s. With that weird puck. So,
and right now the Scout is what do we have in the line that's like a Scout 3-piece or whatever, right?
That would be like a twist. Well, I guess Scout would be like the axe.
The axe, the new ball. I was going to say
the hammer axe. Right? Yeah, that's a light and harder resin around just a puck. There's no differential, nothing to that ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll take one more here. Is the sneak attack solid? The purple hammer reactive rival? Not really. I mean, the motions are going to be similar, Wes, but you're talking a thick shell light bulb shape versus the sneak attack. I mean, numbers wise, they're pretty close, but if you look at the RGs and stuff,
what's the diff on a purple hammer reactive?
I think it's 030. It went up to like 032 somewhere in there.
Yeah, with 35, I think with the with 36 with the sneak attack.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right.
Good deal.
And my producer here, Dave, diff on Power Group is 041 and 16 pounds, by the way. Yep. And Hammer Axe with Surface seems fun. Great Yummy. It was fun. They come out tomorrow, and it's actually really was a really different ball to throw. And if you bowl on extreme dry, and I'll probably try it out next season, but if you got a lot of dry boards, that can come into play if you want to play really straight, like up first arrow, and just let that ball walk in. So
I might have to get one and try it for the hell of it.
And 027 on the purple solid reactive. I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
at 15 pounds. So
yeah.
Oop. All right, guys. That's all we got.
All right. Next week, let's see. We'll be on Wednesday again.
Wednesday next week, we'll be talking about the new releases from the brands of Brunswick, from Track, Brunswick, and Deviate. So we'll be talking about new balls next week as well. We want to get the Radical ones out first.
Yep.
Next week, we'll talk about the other brands.
And please, 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 if you come up with some ideas for the Radical Rundown, just pop them in there somewhere. We'll find them.
And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Radical YouTube page. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers.
That's huge.
Yeah. That is, that's good for you.
It's good for you.
It's good for you.
Yep. All right. You guys have a good day. Nick and I are out. And then maybe we'll do a show when I'm up there. Live.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah.
I think we will. I don't see why not.
I'm sure we will.
Should we do it in the same room? Let us know in the comments if we should be in the same room or separate rooms.
I'm going to do the same room so I can whack you on the head with something when you start to get out of line.
Yeah, just be sure to bring your microphone. We're going to need that.
No, really? I'm not traveling with this.
Just put it in your bag.
No, look at it. No.
Yeah, it's great. You got a little box for it. It comes in a little pack.
I'm not bringing my microphone.
Here we go.
Whatever.
Abe Simpson, grumpy, stubborn mule.
My lat. I pulled my oblique muscle. All right. We'll see you guys.
Are you done?
I'm done. All right, Nick. Take care. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, everyone. Take care.
All right.